table 2. It is 362. Wage is 232. It is 330.
Wage is 222.
Wage?
Yes, chain table 2.
It is 232, sir. I'm looking at the table 1.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Chair.
Yes. It's the wage expenditure that is 222, which has 61. No. So you had now, if you get 364, and you take away wage, how much money do you remain with in the university? We are just doing simple math. 364.2 minus 332.3. How much do you remain with? It's 131. And if you are to carry, that is wage. If you are to take away non-wage recurrent, okay, which is for running, fuel, blah, blah, those other things, which is 116. That means the bulk of your money that is not attached, is flexible, is 118, is in a project. Because this one, you are just a conduit for somebody's salary, okay, and for running office. So that's why I've told you, is that in the university, if you don't keep an eye on this others is literally tied money. Wage, your development budget at the entire university is just 15. But here you are speaking about 118 billion in a grant. And if I asked now accountability for it, off-head, you don't know.
Mr. Chairman, you raised a very important issue, and I heard the accounting officer totality. Is that whatever is received by government institution is supposed to be consolidated and approved by Parliament. There is no section whatsoever that gives any institution of government to receive money, either grant or NTR, and you don't declare it. You are supposed to consolidate. And that's why even government moved even to collect fees, because that forms part of NTR, unless you are granted permission. And we went ahead to ensure that we declare all debts. That's why you see our budget, 72 trillion, includes all debts and everything. Any aspect of off-budget does not exist. It can only be off-budget, but it must be part of consolidated and approved by Parliament. Many parastatals and institutions are violating the law. Honorable Mudim, you can read for him.
Chair, Mr. Chairman, the University Secretary Ariona alluded to authority under Section 42 of PFMA, Cap 171, authority to receive grants. The minister shall receive as a person. That's one. Number two, a monetary grant received under subsection 1 shall be paid into consolidated fund, and once deposited shall form part of the consolidated fund and shall be available for the purposes for which the monetary grant from the requirement of subsection 1 and 2, where it is in the public interest to do so. And B, a person responsible for the administration of the monetary grant inform the minister of the purpose of the grant, and the limit of the grant is remitted. The minister shall, C, number 4, the minister shall issue directive on the receipt of the deposit and disbursement of a grant to be received, and subsection, the report of the grant received by government or by a vote. So there are two things here. We need authority which the minister, for you to be given that exemption under 3 in writing the laws.
Yes.
Chair, I want to begin by acknowledging the takeaway we are getting from the guidance about
In the absence of that, whether it is, that's why you are there every day, sir. Whether it is $1,000 or $2,000, the law tells you it must feature in the main budget. I'm now going to take you to a page where you see where these distortions lead you. When you go to financials, go to page 15. Statement of appropriation on approach based on classification of expenditure by name, by nature. Now you see your total revenues. The initial budget, you had 455. Do you see here on this table? Just by now, when you look at the audit report, your total budget, initial budget is 400 and what? And 55. You even did an adjustment. You got a supplementary of 10, which went to 465, which actually performed at 457. Can you reconcile that with this table?
here, my colleagues in finance can only help me. So the also captures.
Let them come together. Now, you've seen your wage. Your wage approved budget, even revised, is 332. You see compensation of employees. Now, revised budget here is 349, and you performed at 339. Two 39. Yeah. 249 expenditures, 239. Then when you look at the table here,
on table 1, talks about wage 232.
And when you go to page 29 of the 27 of the financials, they explain the categorization of that wage. Pass. This is actually your work.
From the heart of Uganda, where every street hums with history and every voice echoes a story, comes a festival that lets the world know of the Pearl of Africa. Uganda Film Festival 2025 is calling. From May 26th to June 6th, cinemas across the nation will blaze with cinematic stories. Watch, feel, and reflect. Then cast your vote for the Viewer's Choice Award category. Step behind the scenes in exclusive workshops and forums. Discover something new. The Uganda Film Market, a vibrant hub for filmmakers, distributors, and investors. The journey climaxes in brilliance.
This is comparison.
You are leading that discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
A minute, I come.
So, to page 27, note 9. So you need some time, we give you some time.
Chair, more heads can join the
Chair, we
accounting
can.
office.
Well,
Chair,
your accounting department can do it, and the accounting department harmonizes it or finds the right answers.
much appreciated, Chair.
Okay? So that we are not held back by that. But I know the consequences of it is that you are having money not appropriated by Parliament. Not so, Mdimi?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you reach a level of even spending money outside the Appropriation Act.
And it's a lot, Chair.
And it's in billions.
About close to 8 billion.
You are
Close to 8 billion
They are amending the Appropriation Act.
by infection.
Chair, what we can confirm is
As
that
Professor Nalwaro would say, you are amending by infection.
the figure on page 27 in our
Where is Professor Nalwa? Is he
He's seated
around?
there quietly. He thinks we have not seen him.
Chair, the figure in our financial statements on page 27 is correct and is based on the budget appropriated by Parliament that we spent. Colleagues from the finance team are trying to reconcile that with the Auditor General's figure in table 1 and 2 on page 9 of the Auditor General's report. The one we can confirm now is the figure on under note 9 on page 27. But we appreciate the time which has been allowed.
And on page 15, you under 27 and 15, you are saying those are correct.
On
But,
page 15,
Mr.
Chair,
Chairman.
there is a variance for compensation of employees. I don't know whether you are there. There is a variance of about 8 billion. Look at revised and actual and juxtapose it with your page 9.
Yes, because the variance on page 15, Chair, is money which was not spent and was returned to the consolidated fund, the 10 billion.
But sir, if you are saying you are trying to reconcile note 9 with table 1 and 2, specifically which one, which table, and which figure? There are 2 tables. Because note 9 talks about the total of 39, 239 billion 150 million.
And remember at the very beginning, accounting officer, I asked you, for purposes of record of the answered, whether you agree with money appropriated to you under this table. You said yes. And it entered the Hansard.
Chair, I don't know.
And now you are saying you want to run away from this table and go to the books of accounts. That amends your area. And that's why I took you step by step. I said, are these figures right? Because down the road, we are going to look at them and interrogate those figures. We first enter the
Chair, we beseech you to allow us to take the wind of the team looking at the figures.
But you know why I'm saying? These things are so fundamental. So first call us. You have this table, you write a response here, and you have not looked at this and look and have an answer. Yeah, I don't blame you but the people in finance. They should have looked at these figures, said, what is this table saying? What are the books of account saying? Now you reach this level before live NBS, and you are like live TV and others, and you are like, oh, we need 10 minutes. It's a university. It doesn't look good.
Mr. Chairman.
So people simply don't read things as they are brought here. Okay?
Mr. Chairman, since they are pleaded to follow your guidance of giving them an opportunity to harmonize,
I better not comment.
the other side of me now is saying that you give them the time. They harmonize as we look at another query.
Yes, and you can take benefit of my staff and the auditors. That's why, but the accountant general is not here today. Okay, it's not here. They can harmonize and they will give us an answer. But you know what it means in terms of you are in administration. I know where these figures of wage are coming from, is that you are not following what is taking place in the projects. They now come and contaminate your overall figures. And you have not taken it, and you don't know. That's a net effect. That's why we want now going forward, please, all the money appropriated, the project controlled centrally, and that's the dictates of the law. Now you choose to operate outside the law, you create these problems. Can we proceed as they harmonize? Can we proceed? Because we're going to need them. Now, the thing I was telling you, Professor, we are just understanding each other, is that if I take away wage and a little bit of your recurrent, the bulk of what goes on in Makerere is determined on how efficiently you monitor grant money. And that defines you. This is the teaching load, because you teach, your university, teachers provide services, you pay. But outside that, I think all those small buildings I see coming up, most of them are from project finance. Not all of them, but so can we proceed to 3.2? So we've left some work to do on 1.3 and 1.3112 as we harmonize. 3.2 funded outputs. You implemented and note.
Yeah, let's move 3.2 of which page now?
We're on page 10 of the original. 3.122.
Okay.
Yeah. 3.122.
Okay.
Now, Bwana Yusuf, you implemented, fully implemented outputs were 244. Now, this is entirely wage, if I may be right. This is almost wage. That means we are going to evaluate you on this 0.2. And on 2.2, 128.0 billion worth of activities were partially implemented. Out of them, 265 were fully implemented, worth 68, am I right? Worth 68.9 billion. So you substitute that from 128, 73 activities worth 16 were partially implemented. While I could not assess the implementation of 53 activities worth 29, due to non-quantification and costing of activities. That's why Honorable Asmani has said we need, and Kenya, we need the Vice Chancellor. You pass these things without proper costing to activities and your finance. Not so. Your finance, sir. Here, activities worth 29 were not quantified and lacked costing to activities, costed activities. You just throw a block figure there. And the auditor could not even audit it. Do you have an appendix? And they are in appendix 4. Honorable Goreki, look at appendix 4. The money. I hasten to add that these remain unimplemented despite having received and spent the money. So now, quickly, in my own world, did you do a mischarge or a diversion?
29 billion.
Thank you,
Because
Chair.
you can quicken that, we know where it leads to. We can interrogate this, but now with our experience, we know what it did. Did you do any mischarge or diversion of funds?
Chair, we did not mischarge or divert any funds. We had a conversation with the auditor on the challenges we had with quantification of activities on the PBS system, largely because of the system limitations, which only allowed a limited amount of information to be provided.
Our experience here, we don't take that answer. You have a source document. Forget about the PBS.
Chair, we have the source document which details all
Everything.
the quantification of these activities and the report of their performance. We have it, but unfortunately by the time we agreed with the auditor that we can refer the source document, the exit had been finished.
Auditor, you deliberately threw these people in the in the bus.
Chair, they listened to us, but we had finished the audit exit and a ruling had been made on the query, so it was upheld.
Honorable Chair, if you may allow, the fact that you were not given, you brought,
You can have it here before the end of the meeting.
then what have you come for?
Chair, we seek your indulgence to
Is the
submit it before
document,
the end
is
of the
the
meeting.
document available?
Yes, it is available, Chair.
Then, Chair, I beg that you permit them to bring it. You lay it on table because
It means you have it here.
Makerere is not very far,
Chair, we can lay it in like 1 hour.
and there are borders moving between Parliament and Makerere.
Border, the deputy here.
So, Chair, we
This is
have
an
some colleagues
emergency,
who
you can't-
stayed. We will arrange for it to be brought.
You want us, I'm hesitant to turn this committee also into an audit bureau. Neither do we have time, nor the expertise. Because this document ought to have been given to the auditor, and you clear your table before exit meeting. It is all about. But now be sure, sir, because if we find you have diversions, but you have diversions and you are not admitting. You see, the problem I have, the moment I told you this is the heart of the audit. From the moment you see this, our conclusions are there are mischarges and diversions. And I want to comfort you, you are not alone. Every agency we've dealt with is doing this with impunity. And we are meeting in an exit meeting with the PSST, with all accounting officer, we are being proactive to address this.
Chair, we pray for the opportunity to provide the detailed breakdown.
No. But the account, can I read for you that? Can I take you now to accounts so that I show you the diversions?
Chair, before you take him to the accounts, I want to learn from him, because these are just a few of the activities that were not costed.
That look around. See what you can do. Eh? It is causing a lot of these problems. For record, because they are common in all agencies, let's get through them for mention, so that next time you are taking, and this is a reoccurring. I think we have a memo at least for this year. Angura, Honorable Angura, Honorable Suman, Honorable Seungu, they've been members of this committee for quite some time. I don't think this is a new thing. Yes, Honorable Seungu.
Chairman, I'm sorry I've come late and I've not been around, you know.
From the heart of Uganda, where every street hums with history and every voice echoes a story, comes a festival that lets the world know of the Pearl of Africa. Uganda Film Festival 2025 is calling. From May 26th to June 6th, cinemas across the nation will blaze with cinematic stories. Watch, feel, and reflect. Then cast your vote for the Viewer's Choice Award category. Step behind the scenes in exclusive workshops and forums. Discover something new. The Uganda Film Market, a vibrant hub for filmmakers, distributors, and investors. The journey climaxes in brilliance.
Of education. They all know. I'm their minister, and they appear before our committee. Actually, I'm the main one. The other one is shadowing me because she's never seen here. The full minister. But whatever you are saying is right, but we needed to put them, not on oath, but they to prostate those words by themselves. If the Vice Chancellor or any administrator above them gives them directives for money elsewhere around to make them travel, they should come out. Because I have been in this committee for some time. For the last 10 years, I was in Parliament, I was in the park. Not until this term, and I was brought back. The issue of mischarges should not be arising anymore with any entity. Why? Because it is a financial indiscipline. And we cannot entertain a financial indiscipline because of fearing to lose jobs. No, I cannot be among that school of thought. So we want to know physically, do they respect the Financial Institutions Act or they go by themselves? And as a committee, we must make serious recommendations. Whether finance, agriculture do the same, but we are handling education. We are handling education. And who are the educators who teach financial discipline? I don't know whether my statement is okay. So any mischarge that an entity is still bringing it as a financial indiscipline and an audit query, then the accountant is not fit to be in office by now. We have had this several times, and I'm beseeching you, Mr. Chairman, we cannot continue having the same financial indiscipline appearing again. So if they believe that they are put under duress by their supervisors or their immediate bosses, they should push them to put whatever they direct them in writing. In writing. You say, no, I had nothing to do. My boss was saying, and the letter I gave is here. But now here we are. As we have stated, the financial indiscipline is growing day by day. And these people are taking Parliament to be a bed of roses. We shall appear, they will talk, and it will end there. No. Mr. Chairman, I am in the Committee of Education. All these are my friends. I know them. I know how we fight to get their money through finance. And they can bear witness with me. So that's the area, Mr. Chairman, I was raising. You needed to put them on proper statement to state how they go for mischarges. Because they have an open window and an exit window of carrying out a mischarge by seeking for authority from the accountant general. That's what it tells them. So if they write to him and he refuses, they write back, but they are seeing the money, then we go to the accountant general, why he's not fulfilling what this power is looking at. Because they have their demands to carry out work. So, Mr. Chairman, that is what I wanted to submit.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's just go, just for purposes of knowing where these mischarges are. Of course, they are not mounting to, but they are an indicator. Because remember, on the audited amount, there is a portion the auditor chooses not to audit. And we don't know. From our standpoint, we don't know what that is. That is an animal negotiated between you and the auditor, which we don't want to go into. Now, for what we know, you go to line, I want to give you a line, a code. When you go to a code 312212, light vehicles, acquisition. I'm now giving a code which explains the activity. It is 312213. Pass, are you there? The annual budget performance indicates a revised approved budget of 2 billion, out of which 2 billion was released and 1.616 spent. Whereas in the trial balance, it is reported that the entity spent 1.632, giving a variance of 368 million. So the entity spent less than appropriated. Hence, the accounting officer should explain where the 368 were diverted to. So that's the first diversion. I can still give you this and your busy people here harmonize. I'm just putting them on record so that the answer does not find us making sweeping statements. Code, you've seen the code, sir? Are you there? Pass, are you there? On that code. It is, the code is 312212. It is light vehicle acquisition. You've seen it. Yes, 1.6 billion.
On which page?
It's in financials. Which page? Page what? Page 3? Of the trial balance. Page 3 of the trial balance. So there is 368 million that you spent, and we are not saying you embezzled. We are saying you spent in those look around scenarios. Now, there is another code, 312.
They should note that that item is among the non-costed or non-quantified.
Yeah, it is among the non-costed, non-quantified. Now, 312299, other machinery and equipment acquisition. The annual budget performance report indicates a revised approved budget of 901 billion, out of which the whole amount was released, and 109 billion spent, whereas in the trial balance, it is reported that the entity spent 1.189 billion, giving a variance of 285 million. The entity spent more than appropriation, hence the account. Here you spent more than what you appropriated with. You get? I give you another code. Another code is 312424. This is computer databases acquisition. Your budget was 864, all of it was released, and in a trial balance, you spent 888.7 billion. giving a rise of 22 million, which you either, it's above. Eh? So there is no money you can spend above what was appropriate unless you picked it somewhere. Or that's why you find less, you find more. And remember last year we had the trouble with the trial balance of you not giving us. Now the moment you have this one of infamous, there's no way you can fail to get these others. And the department can dig for the whole amount if we audit the other portion that is unaudited for. So I've just wanted to keep that as evidence of diversions.
And all the mentioned activities were not quantified. They fall under Appendix 4.
They all fall under Appendix 4. So Appendix 4 you don't quantify because you should have budget flexibility in implementation. Agreed? Can we proceed?
What are they saying, Mr. Chairman? They are very quiet.
No, Chair, we agree to the observations of the committee, and we are looking at the figures to understand why they. What I know, for example, under the vehicles is that the buses, the 3 buses alone cost 1.878 billion, but the trial balance is showing 1.6 billion.
You see, the question take advantage of exit meetings. A lot of you accounting officers assign this to subordinates. Attend that meeting. When the auditors are there, please ensure you become busy elsewhere. Finally, when the report is out, it's you in the dock. The other small men are nowhere to be seen. Sometimes you are busy to attend all these meetings, and you say, staff handle, pass, handle, and you lack that fineness to detail. At the end of those small figures, you do see 100 million. By the time you go through the whole budget, you are speaking about 8 billion. They come small, but they keep accumulating without knowing. That's why we are saying stick to activity plan. The ESC must, I know how efficient Yusuf can be. Whoever brings for you an expenditure, tell him to attach a code where that money is and what was appropriated. It's simple. You can issue that.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to take you back from your communication to them, what you have said. Do they state that themselves, that they don't attend exit meetings with the auditors? Because whatever comes from Auditor General's report is the audit report from any entity. And as you've stated, could we be enlightened on them? Why don't they attend exit meetings? Because it is for their own benefit. It changes some queries that were carried by the auditors to correct any errors that they get a proper report. So, Mr. Chairman, kindly help me know that as someone who knows.
Put it to them.
No, because you said it, but could we know why don't you attend exit meetings?
Can I respond to that? Chair, thank you very much. Yeah, the way we are structured at Makerere, even senior management team attends both inception, entry meeting, and exit. And this has been our practice all along. So we do attend. We don't leave it to minor junior staff, really. We attend.
But the chair has stated it here, that you don't attend exit meetings. We need to know.
Me, I was thinking aloud.
Yeah. But we do. We on record, really, that we
But
attend.
if you do, you know, every statement has a consequence.
Yeah, true.
Now, if you do, with all your experience, how do you fail to harmonize this? If you seriously do.
Chair, I think as the technical team is trying to reconcile.
Now you are.
We do attend.
Yes, you do. Attendance means what? Not just the presence, because here now you are chipping in. I believe your attendance in those executive meetings as a final person forget about is to ensure that everything, every detail is canvassed. And you leave a meeting and go and give a report to a council.
The audit team presents us to us their observations and the issues that need our response, and in most cases we have responded to them.
Now, Professor, you a professor. If you have attested to a fact that you attend, then this cannot be in your books of accounts. The moment you say, that's why I told you take a Kasmoro road and escape. Now that you are saying, no, you are not, no, let me go highway, then you've got to account for your attendance. If you are attending and all these things are in there, so under which form, ghost or real?
Mr. Chairman, I think what Professor should know is the consequences of and the explanations that you're giving us. Good enough. And we ask, why didn't you give that explanation at the exit meeting? So such that some of these queries are dropped from there, other than clogging us with many things. And when we ask, you give explanations that you should have given at the exit meetings. So that is the essence.
Honorable colleagues, in the interest of time, that query is sustained. That query is sustained. Let's proceed to 3113. In supplementary fund.
Honorable Chair, Honorable Chair, if you may allow, taking you back, can they also give us a reason as to why they failed to utilize the 9.8 billion under the unutilized warrants?
Chair, that is, we have voted for wage, but we had a challenge transitioning to the human capital management system. And as a result, the Minister of Public Service halted staff recruitments and promotions. And they were only reopened towards the end of the financial year, and the wage could not be consumed retrospectively.
Honorable Chair. Okay. Honorable Chair, this is under 3.121. Can we have it? Chair, wage is a very serious issue, really.
Yes, Chair, we have the schedule of the activities, which, let me just look. Response, we provided Annex 16.
Annex what?
16 in our response. Not consume the wage for the 12 months of the financial year.
We're trying to, this 9.8, the government utilization of this 9.8. Chair, I request that we proceed as we look through this Appendix 6 and to see what the Appendix 16, the attachment, the list is quite big, not too big, there are two pages. But let us look through, Chair, I will give you the details, we shall get back later.
Yeah, okay. Now, that is irregularities in supplementary funding. Can I put, because we've gone this through the universities, other universities, and it seems it is a disease affecting every university. The problem you have comes from NTR. When you realize you have collected more than what was appropriated, you raise a supplementary to collect to claim what you have collected. And you find reasons to justify that supplementary. Now, a supplementary schedule, why you are culpable. Yes, a supplementary is approved by Parliament. By minister, can even be on 3% brought here as a post-mortem. But the initiator of a supplementary is the vote holder. You are the one who writes and justify why you need a supplementary. Now, a supplementary, essentially the auditor is saying, the reasons you advance for requesting for supplementary abuse the Public Finance Management Act. Yes, in a smaller way, Parliament should never have approved this supplementary because it doesn't meet the criteria. But the burden, the problem starts with an accounting officer who knows that a supplementary must only free, actually the auditor here doesn't know, may have forgotten the amendment we made on the financial money, must meet 2 criteria and actually meet only 1 because we changed it to all. In the past, you used to meet 3. Now you only meet 1 of the 2. It must be avoidable, unavoidable, and foreseeable. Unavoidable means an expenditure you cannot postpone to the next year's budget. And foreseeable, you must not have seen this expenditure at the time of budgeting. If for any luck we saw it, you did not fund it, you did not appropriate it to it, don't raise a supplementary. If you can postpone it to the next year's budget, don't raise a supplementary. So the auditor finds you. You requested for 10 billion. And each of the items was not meeting that criteria. The first one, 1 billion, was for the graduation ceremony. Really, a graduation ceremony is an annual event for a university whose date from the word go, and you have repeatedly done graduation ceremonies. So you cannot have money. First, wait a bit. You cannot have money busying Parliament, other entities with monies for graduation. And in the budget call circular, you ought to know this is an event which is a must do. Allocate it adequate money from the word go. The second one is research. Okay.
Yeah, we give us room and we raise issues. Makerere University.
It must be relevant.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm asking, is there any student in Makerere University who doesn't pay for graduation, that you need this money for supplementary? And you as our chairman, can you, through you, Mr. Chairman, can we know how much does each student on the 74th graduation ceremony, how much did each student pay for graduation? And are there students who never graduated because they never paid for graduation fees? Can we find out that, Mr. Chairman? So that we have this query as per the auditors. That is you, Mr. Chairman, through you, we find out. Is there any student in Makerere University who did not pay for graduation function? And how much did each of them pay? And how many were they? You will find out that this money was not necessary. Chairman, through you, to them.
Activities mentioned here had been initially budgeted for by the university, and they were approved.
No, Chairman, I'm sorry to take you back. Haji is my friend. Let him first answer my questions, then he will respond to your question. Because as we query a supplementary, we look at the cost at where the activity went. This is 1 billion for graduation ceremony. And I am an old student of Makerere University who knows how we pay for graduation fees. So I wanted to have those answers. Then,
from the heart of Uganda, where every street hums with history and every voice echoes a story, comes a festival that lets the world know of the Pearl of Africa. Uganda Film Festival 2025 is calling. From May 26th to June 6th, cinemas across the nation will blaze with cinematic stories. Watch, feel, and reflect. Then cast your vote for the Viewer's Choice Award category. Step behind the scenes in exclusive workshops and forums. Discover something new. The Uganda Film Market, a vibrant hub for filmmakers, distributors, and investors. The journey climaxes in brilliance.